From fans, season 4, episode 3 just dropped, and I've been seeing a lot of people saying nothing happened, and I completely disagree. Yes, this episode is a huge setup episode, but what's wrong with that? Setup episodes are very necessary early in the season so that the reveals can mean something by the end. So let's break down this entire episode, and hopefully I can convince you of its importance. Major spoilers ahead, and if you're a fan of From, make sure you like, follow, and stick around because I'll be breaking down theories, news, and more this entire season. So yes, I'm not going to act like this episode was out of this world and revealed all to us. Even critics are saying it's more about building mystery than moving plot forward, but that's the point. This episode is about setting up character arcs for the rest of the season, planting seeds for the future reveals, and positioning key players for the endgame. And if you pay attention, a lot actually happened. Let's start with Fatima, Ellis, and Elgin. I was honestly surprised Fatima forgave Elgin so quickly after everything in season 3, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense because that's who Fatima is. She's the light of the town, she's forgiving, hopeful, always trying to see the good. So this wasn't weak writing, it was consistent character work. I liked seeing that after everything she's been through, she still can't hate Elgin and she forgives him. Also, what the heck was up with her filling that cup all the way with water? Damn. But anyway, Ellis is trying to step up too here. He talks about how Fatima saved him after Abby died, and now he wants to be that for her. We get the rage room moment, smashing the cars, which I thought might lead to something bigger, but really it's just reinforcing their relationship. And this part, I will admit, isn't too important to me and was the least interesting part of the episode. But let's get to the important part for Fatima. Fatima lies about taking a nap and she goes to see Elgin and he is pouring dirt in the room. Now seriously, I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, is she really gonna eat that dirt? But after thinking about it more, I don't think so. I think she's trying to recreate something, a location, a memory, the cave, the altar with the children Jade saw, something to unlock her memory from her vision after she birthed Smiley. This does feel like the beginning of Fatima trying to unlock something deeper. Now let's move on to Acosta and her redemption arc. When we open the episode, Acosta is at rock bottom. She's in the cell asking Boyd for a bullet, ready to walk into the woods alone, but Boyd doesn't let that happen. Instead, he gives her a mission. He takes her to the room filled with items from past townspeople, and he tells her to create a narrative. He tells her to use her police officer skills and comb through the entire room and create a narrative for each piece. And the narrative word matters because this show is obsessed with story analogies. So now Acosta has her purpose, and not just to stay alive, she's going to find something. And I love a little bit of a parallel here. Back in season 1, Ethan talks about the Crown Monocle and the Lonely Dragon, where all the lost items are kept, and there's a map. So what if this room has that? Acosta is pretty lonely right now. What if she's the lonely dragon? What if Acosta finds the missing piece of the puzzle everyone else missed? This is the start of her redemption arc. I'll talk more about that in another video. Now let's get into Sophia / the Man in Yellow. First thing she does, ask for some time alone with her father, puts on that creepy face and pulls the pastor's tooth. That's her trophy, and we know the Man in Yellow loves his trophies. And then it's time for the funeral. I made a video about this separately. People think Sophia looked puzzled or scared, so maybe she's not controlling the crows, but I don't really buy that. I think she's acting here. If she reacts the wrong way, she blows her cover. Everything she's doing is carefully calculated. And speaking of calculated, next time we see her, she's at the diner watching the Matthews family closely, and then she's talking to Kenny. And this is where it gets dangerous. She asks innocent questions, innocent. Kenny answers honestly and with no ill will towards the Matthews family, but she takes the words and she flips them. Suddenly it sounds like the Matthews family is the reason everything is going wrong in Fromville. She then tells Julie and ties it into religion, expressing how there's a passage about a nation suffering because of one person. Sophia pisses Julie off and starts planting her seeds of chaos. Her manipulation has begun, and then she chooses to live with Sarah, which I'm sure she believes is a great idea because Sarah's already hated by the townspeople and she's the perfect scapegoat. If she frames Sarah for something, the town will easily turn on her again, but I'm not counting out Sarah just yet. I think she may be the one to find out who Sophia really is. She's always been very in tune with Fromville. Now let's do a quick rewind back to the diner. Victor gives the Matthews family his drawing of them, which leads Tabby to eventually see the lighthouse drawing, and she decides it's time to take action. She leaves a note for Donna and intends intends to go to the bottle tree, but Henry sees her and decides he's going with her. And when the time comes, he stops her. And honestly, Henry is right. Henry, very rightfully so, says that her kids need her and she can't risk her life on a hunch. Tabby leaves a note and Henry hilariously snaps back saying, "Oh, okay, then it's all good. I didn't realize you left a note." I'm torn with this scene because as a viewer, we always love characters taking action in Fromville, but Henry was definitely right here, and we get confirmation of that moments later. The boy in white shows up as they're arguing, and he says, "You're so close, you're running out of time." And then Tabby asks him point blank if the bottle tree will take her to the lighthouse, and he says, "I don't think it will, not anymore." Things are constantly changing in Fromville, and the boy in white here, he doesn't feel like the man in yellow. The more we see him, the more it seems like he's definitely not controlling things with no power at all. He's just nudging and helping a little bit at a time, which raises a bigger question. What is his actual role? More on that in another video. Now let's get to that big Avengers Assemble moment. This might be the most important storyline of the episode. Ethan goes with Victor to Colony House and starts asking questions. Finally, let's go. They go to the Brundles where Ethan immediately realizes that this is not the right place, and we hilariously see Jade trying to meditate / float tank to unlock memories, and a frustrated, flustered Jade is always hilarious. And then Ethan brings up the Lake of Tears, and I love this moment because Victor does not question it at all, because Victor knows this place is real. He doesn't double take at all when Ethan says Jim appeared to him yesterday and told him to find it. So now you've got Ethan, Jade, and Victor all talking together, three of the most important characters finally on their journey to connecting the dots. But then Victor finds the suit, the man in yellow suit, and Victor breaks. "I thought I made it up," he says. This confirms Victor has seen the man in yellow in the flesh before, most likely during the last cycle when he was a kid, around the time of the massacre, or afterwards when he was alone. Victor has answers, he just hasn't given them to us yet. And now let's quickly finish up with Boyd and Julie's stories. I'll keep it short and sweet with Julie. She's about to start her formal Storywalker training, which will become one of the most important parts of this story. She will use the Chromonocle books as her training. And then Boyd starts the episode with that dream about Abby, and he decides he wants to help Acosta because she reminds him of his wife, someone he doesn't want to fail again. So he gives her a mission instead of a bullet, hoping it'll help their journey, but more importantly, he hopes it'll save a life. And then we get the graveyard scene. Boyd tells Abby he's changing, he doesn't like who he's becoming, and then we get that ending, the hand coming out of the grave. Now, personally, I think it's a hallucination, a horror cliche that the writers were using for shock value for the trailer, but it shows us one thing clearly: the town is always listening. So yes, this episode wasn't about giving us the answers. It's episode 3 here. It was about positioning every character for what's coming next. We're only in episode 3 of a 10-episode season with a final season already confirmed. We gotta relax. This is the build. The end game is on its way. If you're watching from, you need to pay attention to episodes like this. This is where everything gets set up. So drop your theories in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed it, and please follow because I'm breaking down every single episode this season. Let's figure this story out together.